Hello again. This is for the second piece of the collection, which is entitled Full Bloom Caterpillar. I can't say much about the products yet, but the caterpillar gives the biggest hint about what the product looks like. For this piece, the client asked me to write this one with a little more funsy vibe. So I was thinking maybe I should think about the caterpillar trying to munch its way into having a full stomach. If they have stomachs. But you know what I mean. To start this off, I thought of using the strings again. But the cool part is I then used pizzicatos and used the violins, the violi, and the celli to play the same notes but an octave apart, just like last time. But this time, instead of using the string ensemble purely, I separated them to use the pizzicato function, but also to have this fine-tuning of the notes, just in case I needed to change one of the instruments in the long run. Plus, it made me make sure that the viola sound is used properly, instead of the string ensemble, which may use depending on how it's needed, what the MIDI needs. So we started off with this one. I forgot what the term for this is. Is this an ostinato? But then, yes, I used this repeating pattern to set the beat of the piece. So the tempo is a little faster now. It's 116 beats per minute, but with the same key. You can listen to it here. So it's like a march of the caterpillar, and then like ten 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 ten. Each of the ten is more like a munch, like num 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 num. Just like that. And then to add a little bit of a layer with the piece, I added this one from the double bass, which is another pizzicato, but it doesn't follow the upper three instruments. And has its own timing, which is more of quarter notes. They use quarter notes, just like this one. Dun, 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 dun. So it again adds the march of the caterpillar into munching some poor leaf. When played together, they sound like this one. So it plays this one, the entire bass line plays for the entire piece, but it has some variations, which we'll get to in a bit. The flute would then follow a little bit from the violins and then make its own thing. So we can listen to it here. See, it does its own thing. Now, we then have this Latin percussion. Actually, I forgot about using percussions until the very end, and then I realized that because it needed a little more oomph to the marching beat. But I didn't want it to use timpanis. This is not that grand, but it's kind of fun and lighthearted. So we had these. Right? I think I used the cowbells, the tambourines, and I forgot the name of these instruments, but I know what they sound like, and I know that I needed those pitch like pitches of the percussion. So I didn't need the bassy ones like the timpani and the bass drum. So that's the intro. If you play the intro with the percussions, they sound a little more lively. Right. And then the flute comes in. That part, there's a change in the chord. So it's from C major, I think, to F major. So the bass line, instead of using or following the violins, the violin, the cello to play the same notes the entire song, it actually changes in notes. Then it goes back to the original. Then just like that. So it's a walk. I think it's called a walking bass line. I don't remember. But as you can see, sorry, the notes do change with the chords, and it adds to the layer needed to make the flute sound better. And then the second part of the flute is a little same, but then we change the ending to close the entire piece. And yes, that was a scale from the high C to the low C. Actually, I wanted it to be just straight from the high C and then down to the low C, which is a straight line. But then I think I needed one more note. I just added another B just before the last note. At least it sounds nice. Now, since we have the bass and the flute already there, I needed, again, some layers. The first thing that came to mind was adding the clarinet, because the texture of the sound of the clarinet was, let's say, it matches really well with the tone of the piece. With just a clarinet, it'll just sound like this one. Sounds kind of weird at that end part there, but when played together with the flute, it just makes sense. Harmony. I wasn't afraid to harmonize this time. I think it's because it's a little more full. Like, it's a fuller piece. The sound goes to that part. So it's fine. Then to add a little more layer with the woodwinds, I added an ensemble. So this is the same with the strings patch, where there's an ensemble mode. So I'm not sure which instruments are playing at the same time, but they play the chords that I wanted them to play, which sounds like this one. With just the woodwinds together, it sounds like this one. Sorry. We start here. Right, so it sounds kind of cool. With the strings playing, we have this one, except the string ensemble first. Let's mute this one. Start from the beginning. Already very nice. But then we add a little more string ensemble at the very end just to add a little more layer. Again, it has this build up and then release. It just closes the piece and then we move on. See, it's there, it's subtle, but it adds some layers to the final sound. It's very simple. I think it just took me around like 2 hours. 2 hours mostly, because I don't have a keyboard. A keyboard which I could play MIDI keys in, but I just use this one, a mouse. I need this one, and it's the most useful thing I have in this setup. So there's that. That's Full Bloom Caterpillar. It's a little more fun, it's a little bouncy, and I hope you also like it. For the next piece, it's a little calmer, but well, I'll explain later. I hope you like what you see, and see you in the next video.